3, 2, 1. Okay.
We are live.
Oh, here we go. Good morning on this amazing Thursday morning. How are you, Audra?
I'm okay.
We just kind of saw each other. Good morning, and let's go.
I know.
It's been a little different morning.
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Great. Hugs.
Yeah. Good morning, darling.
Well.
Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us today. Someone's already on. Show us who you are. We'd love to see who you are so we can say hi. Yesterday, who saw yesterday? Can you do like an emoji or a like or a heart or something? Because yesterday, Audra and I got to introduce a topic that has been, this is discipleship week for us. And so this has been probably one of the greatest things we've recommended lately to anyone that has just been like to everyone who reads it, and including us, which is why we recommended it to begin with. And that is, hi, Ms. Vivian, good morning. That is that we've kind of just recently discovered the Passion Translation, the book of Song of Songs. And if you didn't catch yesterday, which Miss Vivian did, awesome. If you didn't catch yesterday's video, do go back and watch it, because we introduced why this is such a cool thing for us right now. And it really has nothing to do with marriage, and it has everything to do with our journey and spiritual walk with Jesus as his church, as his bride. And so I just today I just felt like maybe we should highlight a couple of passages, and what was it about this book that just absolutely made us come alive and made us have that rekindled passion, hence the Passion Translation. And I kept saying passion, and apparently I made a joke. I have no idea what it was, but Audra says it was great. So I'm just going to roll with that.
Yeah.
So without further ado, what are we trying to do here? We love to share whatever God is doing in our life, because, our Christian walk is dynamic. It is constantly moving and changing and growing and going up and up and up. And we should have these times where you feel like, wow, that was amazing. And then tomorrow it's like, oh my goodness, that was even better. That was even bigger. And then the next day, wow, he answered my question. I've been having this question for a while now, and I was finally at a place where I could hear his answers. And whoa, he just answered my prayer about such and such. That really is why I call our Christian walk, I call it a great adventure of faith. It is just this ongoing adventure, one after another, of our faith growing, our faith just becoming brighter, and our walk just becoming more and more beautiful and sure and secure. And even though the road in front of us is kind of like, I don't see everything that's coming. It's an unknown path still, but that's what makes it so exciting, because he's leading us. He's guiding us. Have you ever been on a date or, with your spouse or with your significant other, and they know where they're taking you and they just want to surprise you? They're like, no, shh, I've got this. I know where I'm taking you. Well, there's this sense of, I wonder where we're going. And then there's this sense of, oh, I get to just rest and enjoy the ride because they got this. And you know that they love you, and that they have the best in mind for you, and that they're wanting to surprise you with something special that they have in mind for you, not necessarily for themselves, but for you. And so just imagine all of that wrapped up in what we call this great adventure of faith. So that's why we're sharing why this has been such a whoa in our spiritual walk. Audra, why don't you're so quiet? Are you awake yet? You haven't had coffee, have you?
I've had no coffee today.
Brad is roasting our coffee. We were out, so
So we're all kind of.
I'm not. You might be. I'm ready to go.
Teasing. And I've just been enjoying you being so excited. So
I drink coffee because I love the taste, not because it wakes me up.
I know, it's all the things.
All the things. Okay, would you share with us one of your favorite passages that it just kind of jumped out at you and made you go, wait, let me read that again.
Yeah. It's Song of Songs 2, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not discern this new day of destiny breaking forth around you? The early signs of my purposes and plans are bursting forth. The budding vines of new life are now blooming everywhere. The fragrance of their flowers whispers, there is change in the air. Arise, my love, my beautiful companion, and run with me to the higher place. For now is the time to arise and come away with me.
That is beautiful. Okay, I won't comment. You need to comment.
Well, it's just, there is something about, he's speaking to her about basically saying, marry me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is his proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And she, spoiler alert, she gets scared and runs away, but she comes back
Cold
after
feet.
this.
Yeah.
But he does. He basically is saying, can't you tell this is time? How much I love you?
Mm-hmm.
Can't you see what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And just really speaks to her about, like, look around and see.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you see what I'm doing in your life? Don't you see that it's time for a change? Don't you see that change is me? Like, all these things. And it's just really, I'd never quite heard it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But even reading it again this morning, my friend and I were talking about revival the other day, and it's like the Father was showing me a picture of, like, revival is like the spring. Like, you can see it coming. You can see the blooms of it. You can see it. And that's what this verse has reminded me of even today is, like, can't you see what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want to come with me? Don't you want to come with me to this higher place? So that's why I think I love it. But I mean, this whole passage is great if you come, because it basically says, hurry, come away, like, come, like, do it fast. And he's trying to sweep her off her, like,
exactly
feet.
Sweep her off her feet. Yes.
Yeah.
I see this also as, our walk has cycles in it, like cycles where he has done something new in your life. He has shown you something new. He has given you some new kind of revelation that has helped you get over whatever hump you were experiencing, whatever answers to your questions there were. And there's this newness to it and everything. And then it just becomes kind of normal. And so then after it becomes a little bit normal, more normal, then Jesus does this all over again. And he says, just come deeper. I am calling you to come even deeper. I am calling you to come to to me, this speaks of a whole other level of commitment and trust. Because the moment you start going into a whole other level of commitment from yourself, of surrender, yes, sweep me off my feet, I am here, you go right ahead and take me where you want to take me, and all of that stuff, then all of a sudden there's this newness of life, this next spring that comes back into your life. And that can happen every week if you want it to. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to happen once a year like we wait for spring here in Alabama. You can actually experience that however in your own spiritual walk it needs to happen. And I feel like God's constantly wanting to do something new in us. And okay, back to couples, because this is February. But have you ever seen a couple where you can tell he is head over heels in love, and she's just like, okay, she's just a little bit like cold and just a little bit like,
you're like, girl.
Yes. She's dragging her feet on stuff. She's being reluctant. She's constantly like, and he's bending over backwards. What do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? And she's like, nah, I don't know. I don't really care. And you're just like, his devotion to you is so evident, and here you are just kind of blasé.
Yeah. Who cares? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like with Jesus, we haven't woken up to the fact that he has bent over backwards and he's wanting to do all these things. It's just kind of not the way we've seen him.
Yeah.
That's not the picture of Jesus that we have had before, which is why this book absolutely blows that out of the water, because it paints that picture for us. So anyway, I loved that passage. There's hardly a passage that I don't get excited about in there right now. But can we read mine? Do you have more to add? I can look it up.
Sure. Just that, like, the imagery of, yes, you can see it, like, I was just mentioning the revival because that's what I was talking about the other day or last night. But you can see the imagery of the whole thing is about it is a vineyard. It's always productive. The whole, how they talk about each other is like a garden.
Yes.
Through the whole book. And you're right, like there's seasons of, like, it's just so neat. I was, but just, there is this expectation of flourishing all the time. But you do have to see it. I think as we said, like, don't you see?
Exactly.
And I think sometimes, like you're saying, like, you don't see. Like, some of us, we just don't see what is actually, because you think, oh, he doesn't love me or whatever. You're like her, you're about to run away because you're like, you're freaking me out.
Yes.
And he's like, but don't you see where we are?
What I've done for you.
Yeah, where you're standing. And so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say something about that. Oh, yes. So in the New Testament, it talks about, I have known and believed the love that God has for me. And a lot of times we might see it, and we might see it from afar. Like, we catch a glimpse of it and we hear about it, but we go, nah, that can't be right. No, that can't be, that's too good to be true. You just kind of have these moments where you're unsure because it's so contrary to what you grew up thinking, believing, hearing, and religion really does get in the way of that beautiful friendship with him. And so I just encourage you, there's more to it than just hearing and knowing the love of God, almost like from afar. The New Testament is replete with verses after verses of talking about how it's not just a knowing of the love of God, but an experiential knowing, something that you experience on a consistent basis. And when you experience that, it's almost like as you experience it, you're like, I believe, or sometimes it's even before, that's the love of God for me in that area. Okay, I believe it. And then all of a sudden, all these beautiful things start to happen because you actually went there and you said yes. A bridegroom can only go as far as the bride is willing. He tries to sweep her off her feet, but if she's kind of like and doesn't say yes, an eager yes, then it just kind of dies there. You have something else?
No, that's it. And he wants you to see, but he's not gonna force you. He's not gonna force you. And like even her, like she ran away, and he was like, okay.
He just kind of went on.
He still went where he was going. Like, and I think that's like, to me, like, it was this moment I was like, he wants you with him. I was reading again, most of it again this morning. It's like, he wants you with him, but he's not deterred from where he's going.
And he's not going to make you.
And he's not going to make you. And he wants you to come back. And if you look for him, you'll find him, as the Bible says. But, I mean, because she does. Like, she goes, she has this, I should have had a V8.
Man.
What am I doing? I have to go find him. And then she finds him and was like, I'm never letting go. Like, but he's like, cool. But he was still there. Like,
guys, how many of us have done that?
Yeah.
I mean, God calls you deeper into something. And for whatever reason, you're like, you go on ahead and I'll just catch up later.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my word, why did I not do that? And you might be having one of those moments right now where you're just like, oh my goodness, it can be this beautiful and this exhilarating and this dynamic and this alive. Are you kidding? Okay. Where are you? I've got to find you now because I've heard you calling me for a while now and I've just kind of been like, right? Anyway, so I'd love to read this part to you. And it's in the chapter 4, a little preamble. Again, if we don't see Jesus a certain way, then we don't get to experience what he has done.
Yes.
Because if we're afraid of him, or if we are feeling like he's not safe for us, just like in any romantic relationship, if you don't feel safe, you're not going to give your heart. You're not going to open your heart to that person. You're not going to be vulnerable. You're not going to express your inner child, so to speak. Okay. My family tells me all the time, you have a really funny side. Why don't you just show that to the world? I'm like, no, these are my intimate people. I'm not going to just do that out there. They're like, why not? Well, because maybe I just don't feel safe for whatever reason. I've gotten better over the years. I have. The fact that I'm doing all this on video shouldn't.
Talking about her inner child on a video, that's improvement. Major
improvement. So there's hope. There's hope. But but it just, if you don't feel safe with someone, but a lot of times it's because you were misinformed.
Yeah.
And so when I read this passage, it informed me properly, put it that way. And I was able to just go, oh my goodness, are you serious? So in chapter 4, it says verse 1, listen, it says listen, that's why I said verse. I do that all the time. I get ahead of myself. This is Jesus talking, okay, the bridegroom king. He says, listen, my dearest darling, you are so beautiful. You are beauty itself to me. Did you realize that's how he sees you? And then he says, your eyes are like gentle doves behind your veil. And then this is why you're beautiful to him. Are you ready? What devotion I see each time I gaze upon you. You are like a sacrifice ready to be offered. When I look at you, I see how you have taken my fruit and tasted my word. Your life has become clean and pure, like a lamb washed and newly shorn. You now show grace and balance with truth on display. It just, what is so exciting to him is you've eaten and tasted my food, my fruit, my word, my life for you. And that just thrills my heart. And to me, that is the most beautiful thing. You are beauty itself to me because you're partaking of me, of who I am, of what I've provided for you. And if you don't even have a clue what all that stuff is, he is talking about righteousness. Like where it talks here about your life has become clean and pure like a lamb washed and newly shorn. Do you realize that in the New Testament it tells us that he has given us his righteousness, that we are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. It's not of our own works or our own righteousness. And many years ago, when I moved from Guatemala to Bible school, we've been talking down memory lane as well because of our anniversary that just happened. But one of the things that absolutely blew my mind was the fact that I was righteous because he said, I'm giving you my perfect righteousness. And from that moment on, it's like that was one of those moments where my whole Christian walk changed because I was seeing him differently. And because I saw him differently, I was seeing myself differently. And so when I read this isn't that you've become clean and pure because of your good works or your good behavior or that you've been trying real hard and he sees that you've been trying real hard. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that he has given you his righteousness and you said yes. You said yes to his salvation. And that's when you received all of that, right? You're laughing. What?
Well, wasn't that one of the first arguments you and Dad ever had before you were dating? Was
absolutely.
He said you were righteous and holy, and you're like,
and I was like, no, you're not. You have to work for it. You gotta get holiness doesn't just fall on you and all this stuff. And of course, holiness is a little bit of a different thing because it's not, anyway. But not to get into that. But yes, that's one of the first arguments Brad and I had. He's like, he had just gone through that class, but we were in different groups, and so I had that class next. But he was just like, whoa, did you know that we are righteous? That we are, he made us right. I'm like, no, we are not. You have to earn it. And that's the background I came from. You have to work for it, man. You got to work to get into heaven. You got to work for it all, right?
Punch your clock in.
Yeah. And you know what? No. He provided something for us. We say yes. We receive it. And he goes, that is beautiful to me. So attractive. That is beauty itself. You are beauty itself to me because you're walking in something that I provided for you, that I laid down my whole life and sacrificed myself for you to be able to have that. Guys, that's one thing. There's so many other things, and that's what makes you hungry to dig into what else. What else did he do? I want to I want to be even more attractive and beautiful to him. But see how it has nothing to do with vanity or self-righteousness or my works, my performance, all those things. So anyway, that is one of my favorite passages. And I just wanted to, it just continues on for just a little bit. And it says, and we'll end on this. It says, When I look at you, see how we sometimes doubt ourselves, right? Just like our own worth or strength or whatever. And he says, when I look at you, this is verse 4, I see your inner strength, so stately and strong. You are as secure as David's fortress. And to me, that was just like, that's how you see me?
Yeah.
That's definitely not how I've been seeing myself.
Yeah.
I'm constantly like, well, I'm not as secure in this decision or this thing, or am I going in the right direction?
Yeah.
And he's just like, what I see is strength. What I see is, and when I read that, I was like, well, if you see that, I humble myself and I agree with what you're saying about me. And that starts to change everything. Yeah. So anyway, you have something to say?
Oh, I was going to say,
feel it.
if you, how do you know that?
I know.
Spidey senses or something.
Yeah.
No, it's like, in case you don't think he's talking to you, he says, listen, you're beautiful. And then he says, in case you think you're like, no, you're talking about, the person next to me. He goes, when I look at you.
Yes! Absolutely.
So, you can't, that's what I'm saying, I challenge you to find something you can think bad about yourself.
After reading this?
You can't. You just...
Yeah.
It's supposed to, it's designed to show you, the beauty.
Yes.
The intimacy.
Yeah.
And you can't be the same with that look.
That's right. How fruitful that beautiful intimacy with him makes you. How, and I love words like productive and efficient and effective, because that's my love language right there. But really how fruitful. And, you don't walk into a fruitful garden that is producing, bumper crops of things and go, oh, you're just so efficient and effective and productive. It's beautiful. It's beautiful because it's bursting with life, and that life feeds others and yourself. And so that he gets to that. Yeah. That's for another time. So thank you.
Suspense.
Yeah, suspense. Oh, listen, remember that on the Hollemans.com there are some recordings of a marriage conference that Brad and I did. And it was really awesome. Just some of the things Holy Spirit downloaded for us for that specific time. We honestly had not seen it before, but said it that way. And we just felt like it was important to get those recordings out there and make them available for people. And so if you go to thehollemans.com, go to store, you'll see those recordings. And that was a paid event. And so in order to honor the people that paid to get to be able to be there, we'd have put a price on those recordings. But I don't know if you knew this. You can follow us on YouTube on the Hollemans, and there's all kinds of free, beautiful resources, because we've been doing this now for a while, and we've been uploading them to YouTube. And you can they're in playlist kind of style, because now we do a week of parenting, a week of relationships, a week of mailbag questions and answers, a week of discipleship, which this is discipleship week. And so I just encourage you, go and dive deeper into what God has done for you by availing yourself to all those resources we have.
Sign up for the newsletter.
Yes.
And we are coming into mailbag week next week. So
any questions you may have.
We start sending this. I'm trying to do the little
typing.
Below. Below.
That's
put
right.
It there so we can see them, and we'll love to answer your questions.
Yes. Thank you for being with us today. Happy Thursday. We will see you here tomorrow. And have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.